All right, we're on. So another back at it for another week of question and answers here, Steve. So I think we got a good chunk kind of to start, and let's start it right off. So this is a question that seems to come up a lot lately. I think a lot of this stems from really the uncertainty with tariffs, and it says, "Are you seeing supply chain and/or pricing issues?"
Supply chain issues based on maybe tariffs and all that other stuff. I know that certain lines have had some issues. I know Monogram has had some issues, but I don't think it's more due to their personal problems. The pricing issues, yeah. I mean, everything's had a price increase. Sub-Zero, Wolf, Gaggenau, Bosch, Thermador. GE is April 1st. LG was March 15th. So all the pricing issues are baked in. Whether you have supply, I don't think you're going to have as many supply chain issues because I don't think this is a COVID-inspired kind of thing where different component companies are going out of business. But with tariffs and a lot of major components come from Mexico, China, that's going to be a problem. So we'll see, though. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen the problems yet. But I don't think the tariffs have really taken hold yet either.
Yeah, for sure.
Something that you need to monitor. No question.
Yeah, like you said, pricing, there's no question about it. And like really, now springtime kind of leading into the grilling season, that's another category we're definitely starting to see some price increases that either have already happened or will definitely be happening very soon, from 20-30% with some of these brands, like even a Weber, which is going to be facing a pretty significant increase soon.
Yeah, Weber's 35%, I heard. Hessen's 30%.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, so pricing for sure.
Yeah.
And like we've said in the past too, wherever you're shopping, and if what you're looking at is kind of what you think you're probably going to go with, it really doesn't hurt to put a deposit down on that order. At least for us, you put a deposit down for a percentage of that order. That locks in that price. You don't have to take delivery right away. You can still make changes to the order. You can still cancel. Of course, wherever it is that you're shopping, you want to make sure you're asking those questions of your retailer to how that works. But that is a good way to help protect yourself, at least with some of these pricing maybe fluctuating a lot and seeing some major increases here soon.
I agree with it. To some degree. I mean, you still can get 4% in your bank, so
sure.
You may want to do financing because you're still getting unbelievably 0%. But I can't imagine the prices are certainly going down. But yeah, I would just monitor your salesperson and see when the prices go up.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the next question here. And this one is from Denise, and it says, "What are the latest reliability stats on the newer combo washer dryers with heat pumps, LG and GE specifically?"
7-8% service in the first year. None were compressor oriented yet. That said, I mean, you see a lot of really different types of opinions. On you can have a strand. There'll be someone that likes or hates this machine. And you got to clean the lint. You got to clean the lint. That's simple. The real problem I'm going to see with this is when there is issues, who's going to fix it? Because this isn't a normal dryer. This is more like a refrigerator. You got a compressor, exchanger, evaporator, and someone has to know the basics of a dryer and the basics of a refrigerator too. So that's really what you're going into.
Yeah, and these newer machines are definitely still new. They've been out for about a year or so. The old ones without that heat pump, definitely, constant 100% service. But these ones so far seem to be better. But, like you always say too, when it comes to these, it's, make sure that this one actually fits you. And if it's you're somebody that does a ton of laundry and you're really kind of going from one load to the next, it may not just be the best unit for you, period.
It takes twice as long. You can't reload the machine. You want to take some questions from the people that are. Yeah.
So let's take some of these live questions. From SS. I don't think this one's from you, but they say, what are some of the must-have kitchen appliances for a new kitchen?
A must-have kitchen is something you must have, right? It's different for everybody, right? I mean, a must-have for appliance, something that you use that you won't buy and not use. That's what a must-have appliance. It's different for everybody. Like personally, and I just made it downstairs here, and I'm in Norton now. I took my ginger beef and steamed it, and served it to everybody. So tender. It's so tender because you're not baking out the nutrients in a microwave or even a radiant oven. I think steam's great. I think coffee. My sister loves her Miele coffee. That would make that. Speed if you're in a rush and you don't want the texture to be microwavy. That's a good one. Wine chillers are a good one. Componentary refrigeration, if you want to do that, refrigerator drawers. I have a set for my kids. What's the soda that they're all drinking now? Poppy?
Poppy, yeah.
That's the fermented soda. It's
yeah.
25 calories. It's better than Coke, right?
Yeah.
Or Diet Coke. So it really depends. A must-have is whatever you think you must have.
Yeah, those are all good answers. And for me too, it's kind of like that beverage center, refrigerator drawers is huge because we all have just so much stuff in our refrigerators all the time now, and it's full. And no matter what size fridge you have, it always seems to be full. So those drawers to put all the drinks or snacks or things like that really kind of frees that up.
I totally agree with you. That thing's a godsend. I don't know where I'd put all these. You got to buy them in like 24 packs to get them. Like usually, where did they come from? But yeah, you stand them up in the drawer. The kid goes in the drawer. All good.
Yeah. All right, let's go to this one from Zopo, and it says SKS seems to have some really nice stuff. We are in the process of building a new home and have done a lot of research for the top luxury vendors, and can't understand how SKS isn't always considered.
Yeah, people are fearful of the unknown. That's part of it. The other part is, maybe there's some colors and maybe, they don't have grills or I just think for the pricing and what they give you, I think it's a line people should consider. But it's not a complete line either, right? You can't have a lot of stuff. There's no color. There's no grills. There's no, it's kind of limited as they roll it out, but for what it is, if you like the stuff, they're going to have a 36-inch range with a Freedom top, like the Thermal Freedom, where you just move that pot. There's no burners, put it anywhere. They got some phenomenal new stuff. I really like the line, but again, if someone's like iffy or you never want to like push something on somebody who's kind of like on the fence, right? So.
Yeah, and definitely, being the premium line of LG there, the innovation on their product is extraordinary. It's really there from everything like the 48-inch range with the sous vide built into it, with the induction top and sous vide built into it. So they really have some cool products. Refrigerator drawers, like we were talking about before, where they're fully convertible to be fridge, freezer, a combination of the two. But yeah, like you said, I think they're going to have more sizing in refrigeration, more sizing on just having an induction range in general. So you're going to see a lot more coming from them for sure.
And I'll tell you, that sous vide really works. Did you ever go to their demo in New Jersey?
I haven't, no.
He made steak in the steam oven, the 48-inch, and he braised it in the induction. Just so everyone knows, like I get this question all the time, right? He had this bigger pot on the induction. I go, I didn't think you could do that. Everyone says you can't do that. And he goes, I'm doing it now. I do it for every demo. That's the first thing. So he braised, because sous vide is about temperature, and then you've got to texture it, on a burner, whatever you want to do to make it texture. He goes, the great thing about sous vide is you reheat it and it maintains the same texture. But he made like a seared tenderloin and then put foie gras on it. And I'll tell you, I'm not a real meat eater, but I'll tell you, fantastic. Unbelievable. That sous vide really, really works.
And super unique, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, they're the only ones to make it. So.
Yep.
Although you could do it in some of the wall ovens, right?
Yep. All right, next question. This one is from Dean. It says, I'm interested in objective opinions and advice regarding heat pump dryers.
Yeah. We have another question we're going to answer about vented dryers. And what heat pumps are is if you live in Massachusetts like we do, you're paying $27 kilowatts per hour, right? 27 cents per kilowatt hour. That's a lot of money, especially for a dryer. Now, what a vented dryer does is it takes the air from the room, heats it, expels it, and keeps on doing that, right? So it's not energy efficient. In fact, that technology has been around forever. What a heat pump does is take the air inside the drum and recycles it. Compressor through an exchanger. The evaporator takes out the water. The compressor heats it, and it revolves. So it's a lot more energy efficient. It's a lot better on your clothes. Problem is, it does take a little bit longer. And then when you add it in a combo, which is really the way it's been sold mostly, is you can't open up that washer to redo it. But as far as a heat pump dryer, and it's ventless, and it's 110 on a lot of things. So, it works on many levels. And as a standalone dryer, it's it takes more time, but not that much more time. So I really think you want to save some money. 110 ventless heat pumps the future. It really is. I mean, we see it in Miele. Those Miele dryers,
Yeah.
3.9% service in the first year. That's incredibly low.
Yeah, and right now you see it definitely a lot more, obviously, in the smaller compact laundry for what those used to be was really kind of condensation dryers as well, even when they were non-vented. But those, a lot of times, obviously, if you need a smaller laundry, they're in smaller spaces like closets and things like that. Those old condensation dryers would also emit moisture and heat back in the room. So
Yeah,
you really couldn't keep it in a closet where the heat pump, like you said, all self-contained. It doesn't emit any moisture back into the room either. So it's definitely another plus with those two. Okay, next question from Gary. I live outside your area in Southern California. Do you ship? Definitely a question we get a lot from various areas for sure.
yeah, we get that. Probably someone's calling the phone bank looking for that
Yeah.
now. It's a tremendous revenue opportunity. There's no question shipping things around the country, but it doesn't work. I mean, you look at like that SKS that we talked about, right? You bring it in from Korea or from Mexico or from even made here in Tennessee. You bring it to Massachusetts. I shipped you in Southern California. Don't work. The delivery. If we do not control the delivery installation, it's just going to get messed up. And you read reviews of the internet guys, and they're doing it, and the reverse logistics. And okay, it's broken. I've got a plumber there. Now what? Well, you got to bring it back, and then I got to bring the other one. It's just I understand we could be a $1 billion company, but I need to sleep at night. So I would really, I'm not anti-box store. I would say, check the box stores in your area and the local stores and buy from one of them, but don't ship it in from out of state. It's just not worth the hassle, really.
Yeah, and then you talk about reviews, and you get that's where all these kind of most 99% of those negative reviews come from: the install, the delivery, the
Yeah.
service aspect of it. Service is so hard. We talk about that all the time. So to be able to ship something, and then if somebody inevitably when they need service to not be able to help and provide that,
Yeah.
then you're really at the mercy of the manufacturer or whoever else, and very, very difficult there.
Yeah, anyone can take an appliance order. It's simple, especially online, but getting it executed, that's the hard part. Let's take another one here. Do we recommend a Miele or Siemens or a mix? So what would you pick from Miele? I imagine Siemens is Bosch. It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Siemens and Bosch are the same thing, typically. Although we used to sell Siemens years ago, and it was a Bosch dishwasher, so I'm only assuming.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I really like Miele from a wall oven with the steam assist. And I love their steam ovens. They're so intuitive, right? It's great when you say cook with steam. Okay, well, now you got to figure it out. It's so easy. But Miele and Wolf make it so easy. It's like, hey, push this button, right? So easy. It's so much better. Where Siemens is good or Bosch is good is they make, they make very good lower price dishwashers. Their cooking is cheaper, but nowhere near as intuitive as Miele. So really, it depends on what you wanted to do. I think from a steam technology standpoint, if that's what we're looking for, pro ranges, all that, I think Miele is going to be better. Looking for a little bit lower price, I would say you go with Bosch Siemens.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
a combination of what it is you want. Just make sure the styling is similar if you're putting them next to it, because typically Bosch is industrial and in kind of Miele is a little bit more modern. So
All right,
okay,
let's go to this one here. It says, any recommendations on brands for outdoor gas grills? Seems to be all over the place. Looking for a 3 to 4 burner that's a value for simple grilling.
well, in my opinion, we've been through so many brands
Yeah.
in our grilling history. What it comes down to is you buy a Weber, say a Genesis, which is a good grill for
Hmm.
$1,000, right? They get the 3, the 4 burner. They've got, um, you know, it's a solid grill. Okay. Or you can buy like a cheaper grill and just know that in New England you're going to replace it 2 or 3 times, right? Um, but grills aren't like appliances. Like I just talked about Bosch and Miele, and both of them are going to work. Now I've seen people, this stuff for outside grills is made so poorly, some of it, that you can buy a $200 grill, you just know you need to replace it. But we had a chef put her hand on a grill surface while it was going, and it was a pro grill. So you really, I mean, I think you have to go with established, decent brands like a Weber.
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at Napoleon. That
Yeah,
doesn't seem
exactly.
like a bad grill, but and then you go to the pro types, the Lynx and the DCS and the Heston and all that. But really, there's very few good grills. You almost buy to replace, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
All right, let's go to this one from Joe. It says, how different is KitchenAid from Gen Air?
depends what we're talking about.
Hmm.
Dishwashers, they're basically the same thing. Um, I think where they can be the same thing, they're the same thing because that's just the way the Whirlpool company thinks. Um, but they both have pro ranges. Gen Air is different. Gen Air's got different column style refrigerators, whereas the 48 and the 42-inch is exactly the same, except for the obsidian that's
Hmm.
black interior in a Gen Air versus a non-obsidian white interior on a KitchenAid.
Yeah, a lot of it
So
goes
I
back
think
for
a lot
sure.
of, we did a webinar and a blog post about relabeled appliances, what they actually really are, um, which is worth saying because you don't want to spend more than you have to for the same thing.
Hmm.
So it depends, half and half, right?
All right, this one here from Thager says, any idea when the new 36-inch Wolf induction range or 36-inch SKS range are coming out? Any other new 36-inch induction ranges to keep an eye out for?
By range, I don't think he means range top, but
Mhm.
ranges. I think that SKS range is due out next year.
Yeah,
That's
they
that.
will have a version coming out later this year. Not the Freedom top, but they're kind of the top that they have now. So they will have a range. But yeah, that Freedom top is going to be more next year.
I didn't know Wolf was coming out with a new one. I thought that just came out.
Yeah, they did. So they're really kind of their new version. They kind of went back to an option that has kind of like more the pro style, the pro handles as well. So they will be having a 48-inch range coming out later this year, induction range. Yeah. And then Miele as well will have a 36-inch induction
Yeah, the
range
meal
coming out
is.
very
I
soon.
like Miele. Hopefully, they're going to have like burners that are actually joined together. They got
Hmm.
like those 4 small burners, but
Yeah.
they have the steam assist technology, and that M Touch is so easy. You may not like Miele and you may not buy it, but it's so easy to use. It's just like here's a button. Push the button if you want to, input what it is, how you want it cooked, what the weight is. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Definitely
Especially
makes it simple. Yeah.
were you guys in Nashville this week? Pretty good show. I wasn't in Nashville. Were you?
I wasn't in Nashville. No, we had a contingent, but no, I
Yeah,
wasn't
we're
there.
we're workers. I didn't mean to insult you. What next one is there a best speed oven brand or model? That's a really good question.
Hmm.
We're lucky, and someone was just in our Framingham store and talked. We have a chef now, and right now he seems to like Monogram, but he hasn't
Yeah.
tested everything. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Me too. I talked to him yesterday, the day before too, and he was mentioning that.
Yeah, but he didn't test everything.
Hmm.
Um, I think I'll be able to answer the question in the next month.
Yeah,
But I was under the impression a lot of them have very similar technology of like oven and microwave and
similar.
similar cycles and everything. But we'll answer the question for you, and hopefully next time.
Yeah,
Definitely.
and Monogram has kind of that 5-in-1 with the Advanium as well with their speed oven. So some little differences, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see a full comparison and brands in general. Like combination ovens like Bosch Thermador, are obviously very similar there too, but they're very good. Miele especially because you talk about their controls. That's one of the great things with Miele. That kind of M touch control, depending on the model that you're going, really follows across single wall ovens, steam ovens, speed ovens, coffee makers. So it's a very similar control. Their ranges across a lot of their products, which makes really all of them much easier to use and still a great product in general. All right, let's go with the next question here. This one's from Patricia. I'm thinking about getting a new cooktop. Should I get gas or induction?
That's a great question. It all depends what you want to do, but it depends what you have, right? So if you have gas, just know that to convert to induction, you've got to change the amperage from 12 to 40 amps, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need an electrician, you need a plumber, you need to rewire back to the circuit, you need a new outlet. It's $3,500. That's what our electrician quoted us, right? So that's the first thing before we get started, right? But in terms of gas induction, I happen to like induction better, depending on what it is, right? Depending where you are and depending what it is. Like cooktops are super reliable for induction. I mean, especially the Bosch series are like 1 to 2%. But ranges go to 10% because they're 50 amp, they use the whole circuit. And if you live in a faraway place with a lot of voltage spikes, that can fry the control panel, supposedly, right? So that depends. Like if you want to grill, you can get that in gas. You want sous vide, you can get that in gas. You can't get that in induction, right? And it depends on how you cook. I think induction's faster. I think it's better to simmer. I think it's more child safe, not child proof. I think, I think it's easy to clean. But it really depends.
Yeah, and like you said, just in general for me too, like all things being equal, I love induction. I just think it's, like you said, it's safer, it's more efficient because you're not wasting a lot of that flame kind of up the side like you do with gas. It really is faster than gas. Also, temperature control going from like a boil to a simmer is just about instant. I mean, there's a lot of things to really like about induction in general, for sure. All right, next question. This one is from Daniel. It says, we're planning to build a new home and selected luxury appliances. Will the appliances increase the appraised value of our house?
Yes. And for the wrong reasons, right? For the wrong reasons. As backward as our industry is, the one thing that people understand is appliance brands. Like I say Sub-Zero, you say premium, right? I say top of the line JF shingle, you shrug your shoulders. You need the shingle more than you need the fridge. You need the roof, the electrical, and your basement free from flood. You need it insulated. But people don't understand that. What people understand is brands of all kinds: cars, clothes, appliances. And if you go to any real estate section, it's gonna in a luxury area, it's going to tout the appliances in it. And those appliances, and this goes to the SKS question that we answered a while ago. It's going to be Sub-Zero Wolf, it's going to be Miele, maybe Thermador, maybe Blue Star, maybe Monogram. But those will be in the real estate listing. None of the stuff you need, just the brands that you want, plus the square footage, how many bedrooms, how many baths, really. In words like stunning or whatever it is. So, and that's unfortunate because really what you need in a house is the other stuff.
Yeah, like you said, you won't be seeing that brand name on the shingle anywhere on there. All right, next question. This one's from John. Why are small 24-inch gas wall ovens as replacements difficult to find?
Because it's not builders aren't manufacturing that specification anymore. And they used to in the 50s, the Campanelli home was 24-inch, right? And there's nothing new from a 24-inch perspective since GE started making theirs in a self-cleaning with a drawer below, not the boiler below, which is what everybody had back in the 50s. Now that recent innovation was, I think, like 1998, 1999, but there's nothing new in there. And that's why, because this is a declining market. So manufacturers aren't producing new stuff for that old market.
Yeah, gas wall ovens just in general, not very common anymore in really any size. Really few brands that even make a 30-inch gas wall oven at this point, like a Blue Star, but not
It's too
not
bad
a
too.
ton there. Yeah.
It's too bad because gas is better for roasting and it's got a much better broiler. It's just everybody seems to be a baker these days, or
Hmm.
electrical companies done a better job marketing. One of the two.
All right. Next question comes from Kim. How much of a hassle is it to fill and maintain an unplumbed steam oven?
No, not a problem. I have one.
Hmm.
I've never run out of it. You just fill it. I even forget to fill it. And it's, I think the most I've done is 20 minutes, but I think you can do up to 3 hours is what I want to
Yeah.
say. The other unintended benefit is you don't run a water line. There's no chance of it leaking.
Yeah. Yeah. Much easier overall installation, replacement, down the line or whatever. You don't ever have to worry about those things. And really, you're not, like you said, you really don't ever have to refill that water tank. I've almost never heard that really.
All right, I think that's the end of the questions. What's this month's webinar, Fran? What are we doing?
So April 23rd at 12 o'clock, outdoor kitchen design made easy. So kind of going into grills a little bit. And as the weather warms up finally at some point here in New England, we're going to definitely start getting into grills, and we're getting into that season a little bit now. So, really talking about outdoor kitchens, so many different things you can do today with different types of cabinetry and building with built-in grills, and a lot of great brands to look at there.
Yeah, this is a good webinar. I enjoy doing it. We had 800 people last webinar, so that was a lot of questions to answer. So I made the webinar short, only 20 minutes. We ended up answering, questions in machine gun style for like 40 minutes. So we'll have to limit this one, but this is a lot of fun, actually, even if you're, we're not looking for outsides. There's just so much you can do. And it's a great way to add value if you're a builder and you want to distinguish your home, or if you want to see what's out there. It's all good. Now I want to answer the last 3 questions that these people chimed in. Let's give them their due. Gen Air Appliance is good for value for the money.
So I'd say, again, like you always say, it depends exactly what you're looking for, but I would say there's definitely some options to look at similar or less prices that you can get some better innovation and more up-to-date overall appliances for sure.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan, but I think they have some good products too. It depends on the service in the area as well, right? Which is really the question you should be asking for any of this stuff. I have a microwave that vents the outside. I'm wondering if it is just no, the interior. No. I know what you mean here. It's no, the inside doesn't vent, just the outside. It's just taking the stovetop emissions and venting that to the outside, not the microwave itself. All right, last one. What is the quietest 600 CFM wall-mounted range hood? Great question. Because you would think it would be an outside blower, but that's not the case because you still hear the air rushing in. There's no one that publishes a zone rating, and they're all going to make noise. So I don't think anybody can answer that question. Really.
No, and like we always say with ventilation, certainly the noise, but obviously it's only on when you're using it. And really at that point, you want to make sure that the baffle filters are good. It has good capture area. With ventilation, it's really more important that it's doing its job, because that's really ultimately what it's there for. None of them are going to be significantly quieter.
You get these power burners at the front of the range. You want a hood to get all that stuff out, because your new energy efficient home is going to keep it there. That's the problem. It's like the old stuff. It didn't matter because it was a low power burner in a drafty house. Now you've got super insulated windows, and and a burner that's 3 times more powerful than I started, or not 3, 2.5 times more powerful.
Hmm.
So you really want that. That's really the focus, is a 23-inch deep hood, something straight up or straight back to get that stuff out of your house. That's really what you should be doing. Anyway, I
That's
think we've
it.
done enough damage here today.
Hopefully we answered a few. We got to a few questions at least.
All
Yeah,
right,
so I'll do
listen,
it
thanks.
2 weeks from today, right?